welcome to this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I am Dustin, and I have the pleasure of being here today with Linda Parry, who is the CEO of ProductLaunchers. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, so the reason I wanted to have you on the show is that you're an entrepreneur, you have a product, and I thought your story was great, where you started with a product that you personally wanted and needed, and then it became a manufacturing business. So take us back, and can you explain, and the product is I Got Collared.
Correct.
So I would like you to take us back and tell us a little bit about Product Launchers, because I believe that is over the umbrella over I Got Collared.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll start with telling you the story about how the collars came about. And, I had a corporate job for many years, and I would have to go to all of these meetings and wear suits, and I was always putting on that bulky button down, and it was so uncomfortable to put on, and it was so hot, especially in the summer months. So one day I was getting ready for work, and I put on my button down. I was trying to put a sweater over it. And I said, you know what? This is just so uncomfortable. So I started cutting off the sleeves of the button down. I cut off the sleeves. I started cutting up the shirt. Next thing I knew, I just had this detachable collar. And, I was so much more comfortable when I went to my business meeting, and I told my friends and family about it. And they just thought it was hysterical, and they thought it was the best idea ever. So they said, Linda, you need to bring this to market. And what I do, Product Launchers, is a company that brings products to market. So I wasn't even realizing it, but I was coming up with my own invention. So I worked with a local tailor, and she was able to take some button downs that I had, properly sew them, because I don't have a background in sewing, and we came up with these prototypes that we started bringing around to retailers to see if they would be interested in carrying the product.
Oh, that's awesome. So before that, your prototype was basically a full length or a full, I guess, armed shirt that you cut off to accommodate what you needed it for.
It was. I started to go, it's interesting. I started going to the store, paying attention to the collar. And it's funny, you don't pay attention necessarily to the size of the collar or the shape of it or anything like that when you're buying it. You see it, you fall in love with it, you like it. You think all of the white button downs are very similar.
Right.
But when you start paying attention, you'll notice that the length, for example, on it, right here, it's about 2.5 inches. So I started looking at that, seeing some were longer, some were shorter, finding a length that I liked, and the prototype started with me finding the perfect button-down shirt at Banana Republic. And I said, you know what? This is going to be the model for all of them moving forward. So I took that, and it was the full button down that I had purchased. I brought that to the tailor. I probably had, 5 or 10 of them. And I said, can you cut this? And I had to figure out on most women, the neck size was already determined because of the collar, but I had to figure out the chest size, the width of the shoulders as well, so that we would have something that would be comfortable for them to wear, that would not stick out of a sweater, but would
where it's bulky
lay flat.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So there were, a little bit of science behind it that I had to think through when I was speaking with the tailor, but they were able to guide that process, so it worked out well.
Oh, okay. And are the shirts, are the I Got Collared shirts, do you call them shirts, or do you just call them collars, or?
There are many different terms for the shirts. If you go online, believe it or not, these existed years ago, and the patent expired on them. They're called Dickie collars.
Okay.
Dickie collars are Dickies. And that's when I was doing a little bit of research online. I came across them, and I said, wow, my invention already existed 20 years ago. So I started looking to see if there was a good quality solution, and there wasn't. So I said, you know what, that prompted me to come up with the idea to manufacture my own. But in looking for it, they're called Dickie collars or detachable collars or a faux shirt. There are many different keyword phrases for it. But one of the indicators that it would be a good business for me is that Google has a keyword tool. And I was using the keyword planner, and I was looking for keyword phrases related to Dickies or detachable collars, and there were thousands of searches. I couldn't even believe it. Thousands of people per month were looking for these collars, and they weren't finding a viable solution. So,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of prompted the launch of the business as well.
And so are there different sizes, or is it one size fits all, or how does it work?
Yep, it's one size fits all. They're unisex, and believe it or not,
wow,
there are
okay.
so many men that purchase the collars.
Really?
Yep, a lot of people like them to wear as part of a uniform, for example. So if you have to wear a button down in the summer months, it can be very hot out and you don't want that bulky button down. Men also like to wear underneath the golf shirt. They like to have the
right.
double collar. So
Right.
that look is kind of interesting. And it's also great under dresses and t-shirts, and lots of different outfits work well.
So that's great. I love hearing the story about how you started by cutting off the sleeves of your own shirts,
Right.
taking it to a tailor. So explain to me the process, the thing. First of all, is it patented now? Did you pick up the patent, or is it?
No, once a patent is in the public domain, it's up for anybody to grab. So the patent did expire probably about 20 years ago.
So you don't have to grab it or anything. I mean, you can just
We have
manufacture.
copyright protection,
Oh,
and we have a
okay.
trademark protection as well.
Okay.
So these designs are copyrighted, and so they're unique to our company.
Okay. And so explain to me how you went from going to the tailor and having some made to now manufacturing them for many people.
Sure. Well, once we had the prototypes, we brought them to retailers, we brought them to home shopping networks, and QVC was quite interested.
Oh,
And they
okay.
have a Sprouts program, and as soon as they told us that they wanted us to be a part of it, I knew I had to find manufacturing.
So
I
could you explain the Sprouts
Sure.
program for
Sure.
those of us
Yeah.
who are not familiar with it?
Yeah, if you have an invention, if it's some type of jewelry or if it's clothing or whatever it might be that a QVC audience would be interested in, if you reach out to them, they have this program that's called Sprouts. And it enables individuals to submit their products on this platform. They're usually 3 at a time that are featured online, and it's a contest. So it runs for 2 weeks, and for the 2-week period, QVC members can vote on what products they want included on QVC.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great indicator because if your product is successful and you get a lot of yes votes, they'll carry it on the website. If it does not, then they'll say come back next time when you have the next iteration of the product.
Okay.
And so that voting took place. We generated 4,000 votes over the 2-week period,
Wow.
and we were the runner-up.
Oh,
So
wow, that's
we're-
awesome.
Yeah, we're headed back with some of the new. We just had the black and the white version at that point in time.
Okay.
And we are going to be working with them on some of the patterns that we have, and we'll see if those will be adopted by the QVC community.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, do you design? Because I know you have, as we can see, as the audience can see here, you have quite a few different patterns. Do you design the patterns? Do you have help with that, or is it how does that work?
Yeah, I love fashion. I read a lot of magazines, and I'm always out shopping and taking a look at what some of the trends are. I think leopard print and black and white polka dot are very fun. Also, we've been seeing that the plaid, the larger plaid, is quite popular right now,
Yes.
and orchid is the color of the year. And some of these have been recommended by our customers, and others we've proactively read the publications, gone out, seen what the upcoming trends are, and then I work very closely with my manufacturer to see what type of prints she can get her hands on, and then we review those. We put together some samples to see if the print actually works well, full scale on the Dicky collar, and it's a lot of fun.
So, how do you actually go about testing the product? Because I know you mentioned that you have to make sure it's long, so long enough so that it does not rise up and
Right.
things like that. And of course, I guess if it's one size fits all and it's unisex, I guess the collar has to be a certain way. So what kind of process was that?
I have lots of friends and family that fortunately tested them out for me of all different shapes and sizes, so it was perfect. So they would try it on. If you are larger chested and you want to wear a very low cut shirt, you can use double-sided tape for it.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
a great solution for some people. Or they might want to tuck it into their bra or something. But we found that I think it's about 17 inches down from the top, and it works quite well for most women and and men also.
Oh, okay. And do you find that there's a difference in attention for the product as if it's a man or a woman, or is it like more women who want the product, more men? Is it even?
It's probably 75% women and 25% men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
which is interesting. I didn't think any men would be purchasing it at the beginning, and then all of these orders started coming in, and I was looking at the name on it, and I was like, John? I mean, it's not usually a common name for a woman, so yeah.
But you know what? I guess, like as you mentioned, if people are using it for golfing, and of course golfing is somewhat vigorous of a sport, you would not want the full shirt and for uniforms and things like that. So I can understand why men would want this as well. Now, going forward, you mentioned that the last pattern is the most recent one.
Correct.
The larger black and white.
This just arrived this morning.
Oh, okay. So it's brand new. Okay.
Brand new, not even on our website yet.
And do you have to? How often do you have to think of a new pattern, or is this something? Do you just have a set, like stable, I guess, of patterns? Do you have to think of them often, or
we're just getting started. I mean, we're a year and a half into the process right now, so I know that we have limited designs. Ideally, eventually, we'll want to be selling them into retail, into all of the major department stores, and when we do that, there's seasonality involved. So we'll need to make sure that we're presenting the spring line to them, the fall line to them. So we'll have to work on their schedule, and we'll have to ensure that we're continuously innovating and coming up with new designs, paying attention to the trends that are out there.
Now, you mentioned seasonality. Do you also have like certain regions of the country that wear the colors more than others? That's other parts, during certain parts of the year?
Actually, it's interesting. It's a wonderful mix of all over. We have a lot of orders even coming in from Canada. We've had orders as far away as Australia and the United Arab Emirates.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting to see, the different areas that people are coming from to purchase the product.
Oh, that's so interesting. I know we have just about a minute left, but I know that you have this is your product that is currently in.
Yes. We are testing right now through Bed Bath & Beyond and Harmon Face Values, which is a division of Bed Bath & Beyond. So we have our classic black and white set that's selling in the clothing solutions department, and we're in about 35 stores currently, and we'll be meeting with the buyer this August to discuss potentially rolling it out into all of the Bed Bath & Beyond locations moving forward, and potentially integrating some of the additional colors and patterns that we do have. So we're very excited about that.
Well, awesome. We're going to be right back, but when we come back, I want you to tell us how people can find out, like, where they can go and find out more about your product. But this is Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we will be back in a few moments.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public, educational, and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
I got collared. This part of your business is about a year and a half.
Correct.
Old. But you also mentioned that you are the CEO of ProductLaunchers. Can you explain to us what that is?
Yes, we help companies or inventors take concepts or prototypes and bring them to market. So we do everything from sourcing design engineers, sourcing manufacturing facilities. We work with them through the packaging process. And once we have a great presentation, we start bringing it to retailers. Retailers, catalog companies, online companies, home shopping networks, and gauge their level of interest. And it's wonderful because it'll provide us with feedback that we either need to alter the product slightly or it's good to go. And then we can get it into retail. And then we assist. We have warehousing set up. We have a wonderful warehouse based in Indianapolis, and they help with all of the logistics. So especially if we're dealing with overseas manufacturers, we get it sent over. It's sent straight to our warehouse warehouse in Indianapolis, and they do all of the fulfillment. If it's web-based orders or if it's retail, which requires EDI, they're EDI compliant, and they'll ensure that the retailers are getting the product. I'm not quite sure what it stands for. Probably electronic distribution interface or something like
but it's
that.
for the distribution
It's the
portion.
distribution side of it, and it's
Okay.
the program that Bed Bath & Beyond, for example, they want to track all of the packages. So they place their purchase orders through EDI. The warehouse is connected to it. They know when to ship. Everybody can see where the packages are at any given time. They know when they are received at the distribution center for whatever retailer it might be.
So someone could literally come to you with an idea on a napkin and say, I think this is a good idea, and you could help them through that entire process from idea to executing to the end product?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we do have clients that do that. I mean, we have a snow brush manufacturer. He had an idea for a better snow brush, and he came to us pretty much with a napkin drawing. And we worked with him throughout the entire, the entire process, and played an integral part, especially in the beginning. He knew that he wanted a snow brush, an ice scraper, and squeegee that was ergonomically designed, was more robust than anything that's currently on the market, and we provided feedback, from a design standpoint. Well, let's make this, really stand out and look like something very unique. So we provided guidance on colors, on certain levels of detail, mold injection, including the logo within it, recommending that there was a squeegee as part of the product. So lots of little details we recommended. And then once the product was good to go, we brought them to all of the trade shows. We got them into Sam's Club and,
awesome.
the shopping channel and lots of different outlets. So absolutely, if somebody has an idea, they can come to us and we'll help them bring it to market.
And what is the website where people could contact you for product launchers?
Sure. The Product Launchers website is ProductLaunchers.co. It's
Okay.
not a .com. It's .co.
Okay. And I know that every product is different, but what is the average number of months between the time something is an idea to an actual product for product launches for someone who comes to you?
It depends. I mean, it varies. Something as simple as dicky collars, you can manufacture them rather quickly. A product that's a snow brush or an ice scraper that has to get injection molded, there are, the tooling costs involved that can be rather exorbitant. So it really depends on what the product is.
Okay.
But then once we do have that prototype and all of the sales collateral so that we have a great presentation that we can bring to the retailers, we're probably looking at 6 months to a year to really gain significant traction. And a lot of it is because the retailers, going back to the seasonality, retailers have certain buying seasons.
Yes.
So you have to approach them when they're purchasing the product.
Oh, that's a lot shorter than I would have expected, 6 months to a year.
Right.
Because I always think of a prototype taking a longer period of time, and obviously, as you said, it depends on the specific product, but to be able to get in front of a retailer within a year or, around there is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the timing is really what it is. It's the timing, and then you just need to be very aggressive and diligent and respectful of their time to be able to get in front of them. I mean, they're being pitched products, hundreds per day. So you have to break through that, and you have to have clever emails with clever subject lines. You can't be afraid to pick up the phone and call them and find out how to navigate to get through to the appropriate person. And, you just need to have the diligence to do it on a regular basis.
And how long has Product Launchers been in existence?
We've been in existence for about 2 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was senior vice president of a global marketing firm.
Okay.
And I love the product side of it. So I decided to resign from my position as senior vice president and start my own venture. And, along with representing clients, I also have my own products that I'm bringing to market.
That's great because you already have the infrastructure in place so that I guess you probably already have the people at these major retailers that and you can, at least you can get your foot in the door.
We do. We have a lot of great relationships. not only with retailers, and I know I had mentioned the manufacturing and the warehousing side of it, but even public relations. I mean, it's one thing to get your product on retail shelves, it's another to get the sell-through. And it's very expensive if you don't sell your product in retail, if you don't get that sell-through, because you may have to pay to bring it back to the warehouse. To avoid that, you need to build some awareness in the marketplace that your product exists. And public relations is a wonderful way to do that. And we have some great contacts, you know, at the television networks, with producers, you know, with the major print publications, with bloggers online as well. So we leverage those and, you know, work with the client to figure out what the best marketing plan is for them and help them get the sell-through that's needed.
Okay, so it's basically not just the product, but you're also there to help guide them through, like you said, getting the sell-through, because even though the product is, you know, at online or at a physical retail, you need the public to know that it's actually there.
Yeah, it's the full marketing side of it. I mean, so it's the public relations, it's the internet marketing. You know, we have resources for the search engine optimization to ensure that you're ranking within Google. Also the social media side of it, and blogger outreach. You know, even advertising. If it's traditional advertising, guerrilla marketing, whatever it might be, we come up with a solution for the client.
And do you find that social media is very important with not only with your product, but also with your clients' products, or do you use more traditional means of getting the product out there?
You know, I think that there's definitely a place for social media. I think people, a lot of companies are still trying to figure it out. I think that it's great to engage your customers on a regular basis. It's also great for customer service, and it provides your customers with a platform to provide you with constructive criticism on things that you might need to do differently. So it's a great way to communicate with your customers, but traditional advertising is very effective, and I'm a strong advocate for a mixture of everything, and constantly evaluating it, measuring it, finding out what's working, and fine-tuning it as needed.
And I think you mentioned a little earlier that when you initially had your collars, they were square, and then I guess probably from people actually wearing them, you rounded the collar so that
actually a couple of revisions that we did make. The first prototypes, and it's funny to think about it now, but they almost look like a bib. I mean, they're very rectangular and long, and shorter on the back, and the back was popping out a little bit, and the front just was a little bit bunchy. So it was trial and error, and we said we really need to make this rounded. And then the other thing was the size of the collar. I had mentioned early on that it's a 2.5-inch collar now, but previously it was 3.5 inches. And I have a small head, so when I put it on, I said, this thing's eating me up, and
Saturday Night Fever.
Absolutely. So, we cut it down, scaled it down, and our returns, it was interesting because we were getting some returns initially, and we were listening to our customers and the feedback, and they were telling us, you got to make the collars too big. So the next iteration was a smaller collar, and we have, barely no returns. It's wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
We have great customers. Very early on, what we did to help with the word of mouth with the launch of the business, we hand wrote cards and we inserted them with every single order. And it was wonderful, the feedback that we received. People saying, oh my goodness, a handwritten card with my order? And they were nice cards also. So we received wonderful testimonials that we could put on our website. And we also saw orders come in from those individuals telling friends and family. We were seeing certain pockets of the country that more orders were coming from, and we knew that it was the word of mouth. We actually received a handwritten card from this wonderful lady in Canada praising us about our product and also thanking us for sending her a handwritten card. So it's very rewarding, when you're able to provide a great product that people do love, and they're able to provide their input. We're listening to it, and we're able to make some changes for them.
That's great. That's wonderful, because you have basically told us that, feedback is good.
Yeah.
Whether
Oh, absolutely.
To revise. We have about 10 seconds, so
Okay.
thank you so much for coming and explaining about I Got Collared, about product launchers, and just in general how you started your business. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully you can come again and tell us about any new products that you have in the future.
Sounds great. Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we will see you next time. Bye.